values or meraka masimu. This is American mentality. Lesupe, tota, dwelling huts. There are all kinds of things that are out of place with regards to title that are not being done properly. And the only way to correct them is that a professional must come up and say, this is wrong. The landboard law has done a very terroristic, created a very terroristic culture where people don't understand what a landboard resolution is just a landboard resolution.
Terroristic is a very strong word.
Yes, yes. I use it.
Advisedly?
Yes.
Why?
Because it has terrorized people.
This is Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. We enthuse, we energize, we inspire, and we empower entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs of all stripes in BW and beyond.
Let me greet you once again, dear viewer, dear listener. My name is Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe. I welcome you and I thank you for taking the time out to watch this podcast. Yet another powerful episode of Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. As your host, it's been a privilege throughout the 6 years, and we're marching forward. Today we're going to talk about land issues of land tenure, but at an advanced level. As I've previously had this guest, and you can see I'm a bit edgy because I'm excited. Issues of land. I feel almost like a woman getting ready to deliver, as if we have something powerful to share with you, which we do. And I beg your indulgence in terms of your patience to listen to this podcast right to the end. We have used a little bit of technology to find out what issues, what gaps are still out there that we still haven't covered, especially for this particular guest. So I'm delighted, excited to welcome Mr. Gilbert Sesinyi to the podcast. Dikoti is your middle name, eh?
Dikoti, yes.
Yes, I like that. I'm going to ask you to explain that name because I've never had a chance to ask you before. But before I bring him in, let me ask you to do the honorable thing. Strike that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and don't forget to give us a like so that we can wrestle with these algorithms. You'd be amazed how important your subscribe button is to us. So we appreciate you in advance for subscribing. And then we also remind you that we have a book by the name of Nuggets of Grit. The book is available from Exclusive Books. I'm sure you're familiar with it by now. Now I can tell you that I'm officially a best-selling author. I'm not just an author, thanks to people like yourself. If you haven't got yourself a copy, it's only available at $350 at the nearest bookshop. Actually, it's available at Exclusive Books. It's also available at Sasratakama Airport, as well as the first floor here in Mogobe Plaza. So thank you for your support. And as well, let me mention that we have two mentorship programs, one on real estate and the other on entrepreneurship. The entrepreneurship one has been running for 2 years. The real estate one has been running for 6 years. On average, we have classes ranging up to 30 people each time. You are welcome to approach my staff about the possibility of joining the next cohort. We're on cohort number 3 on entrepreneurship. We're about to start cohort number 10 on real estate. So with that having been said, let me welcome Mr. Dikoti Sesinyi to the stage, to the podcast. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm going to ask you to do a very truncated introduction, because I believe that if somebody really wants to know more, they can simply type your name and there'll be other episodes in which you go into greater detail.
Yeah.
So a truncated introduction, please.
I'm a land surveyor, a registered land surveyor.
Yes.
But over the years, I've grown to become something else that I don't like to put definition to work that I'm still experiencing, and but it is the work of solving problems. It is the work of engaging with the community and finding out what we can do to grow the economy, using land as the base resource, as the most important thing, as the mother of all things, as the producer of all. So I focus in studying daily on matters that relate to the workings of land and the solutions thereof.
Yeah, there's a lot we're going to cover. Your activities in the courts, whether it's a land tribunal, it's a high court, and why you had to involve the law. That's going to be very, very interesting. But for us starters now, can you explain the name Dikoti?
You were
Who
serious
gave
about
it
that?
to you? Yes.
No, the name Dikoti was given by my older brother, the firstborn in our family. His name is Luki. Luki Jonathan Silukisa. Jonathan Sesinyi. He's the first son of the first son. He's my father's first son, and my father was also the first son of his father. So when I came, there's 5 of us in the family. I was number 4. And when I was born, he says, I had such short legs. He couldn't believe it. And they thought I was going to be, like a dwarf. Yeah, so I'd walk, I had like, my legs were crooked.
Yeah.
And I was like, kilidi khara.
Hey.
So when my older brother apparently just said, kilidi kotinyana dudes.
Hey.
And then the name stuck. And then evolved into the Koti. And, so that's where the name comes
Okay.
from. So,
When they say Udikoti Marameng, is it similar or it's a different variation of the word?
it's a different variation. Dikoti marameng, I guess, is dimples.
Yeah, dimples.
Yes, no, that's a different variation.
Yeah, so
This
we have
one was short things.
Short legs, yeah.
Yes, dikotinyana, dikotinyana.
Indeed. Indeed.
Yes.
All right, let's unravel and unpack this this issue of land from a different standpoint. I want us to talk about first the new dispensation. The last time we spoke, we had a different set of politicians in power, and now we have a totally new party, and they've had, if I'm not mistaken, 11 months now. You've had a chance to, brush shoulders with some of them, and to get a sense of what's happening out there in the in the political arena, but also in the land space. What changes have you observed, and what are your preliminary views about the new government?
I must, being apolitical myself by choice, I must say the political elite or the political, circles, even when they get into government, have a similar pattern. Similar, not the same. Ordinarily, they come carrying hope that comes from people on their first trimester, in their first season, in their first few months. They seem to listen. And then something strange happens where it's like the gap starts developing again as they start settling into their seats and being comfortable with their positions of power. And they start losing that fervor, that fire that they had when they were campaigning. This is cyclical. This is why people are always hoping and getting disappointed. Hoping. And you see, after a while, we have to figure this out. It's a pattern. I mean, it's right in front of us. There's nothing to ululate. There's nothing to, the differences are there. Sometimes ideologically. But when it comes to the business of the day, when it comes to the reality on the ground, when it comes to the ordinary man, it now starts taking on the same format or the same shape that it once was. In other words, the problems that we once had in the old government have not gone away. In fact, they've gotten worse, some of them. The intransigence, because you see, you have civil service, which is a set of people also who have mentalities, entrenched mentalities. This is why the last time when I spoke to you about this whole idea of mindset change, or to change a mind, is a lot of doing. This is what we are about, actually. This is the work you and I are involved in, to change minds, and they are changing. And this is people driven. And it happens as a consequence of knowledge. It cannot happen as a consequence of instructions. It happens as a consequence of consequence management also. There has to be deliberate effort. So the new government, when they came in, they were very open to listening. That I must give them. Yeah, they are very...
they are or they
open.
were?
Well, they still are.
They still are.
They still are, but it's reducing in magnitude.
Uh-huh.
I can see it. You can plot it on a graph. Because some of us are mathematicians. We can actually tell you, or between these months and these months, this is what you did. And we can see a general trend of the separation that starts taking place now, where now the big businesses start interfering with our romance or chemistry between us and our leaders. And then they start becoming as though they are leaders for others as opposed to leaders for us. That chemistry starts falling away. It always embarrasses them. Even if you have friends in the political circles, you would have known a guy, have his number, he becomes a minister or a member of parliament, becomes a minister. The next thing, he doesn't answer your phone anymore. And then I've seen the same ones I saw on the BDP government. When they come out, they start answering phones. Now they can sit, have a chat with us, and become normal again. And then I've thought, well, the comfort that leaders are under, the comfort of waking up, you've got English breakfast, kids have been driven to school, the everyday pressures that you and I have, they don't have them, and they've got all the privileges and whatnot. It's very difficult it takes a very powerful mind to be able to maintain focus, even under the privilege. Yes, it's very difficult because you have been privileged, you have been given an opportunities. Businessmen come to you, they promise you, they don't do that to you and I. You are given opportunities. That's why it's very easy to be offered money and you accept it because it's prolific. You are under attack when you start belonging to the ruling elite. We are aware of these things. It's not something that we shouldn't talk about. We should, because it's mental health. It is to help us relate with them better, and it is to help them relate with us better, knowing that we see them and we see what they're doing. So they are generally open. They would open that door for you to come and sit there and talk to them. But in terms of solving the problem, no. That has not changed. It is changing because the masses are causing it, not the leaders.
Okay.
It is changing because there's something else happening in our space.
At the grassroots level.
Yes, there's something else. There's an intervention by a spirit from whence we don't know it comes. But there's something happening in the atmosphere.
Yes.
The energy is changing, and that gravitation, that agitation is taking place because of the universe and nothing got to do with any leader anyway. So leaders would do well to know the time, God's time, and get on the side of God's time. Because if you are not on the side of God's time, it'll be worse for them than it was for the last guys.
Yes.
Because change must come.
All right. I'm now going to ask you about land valuation and compensation. To say that how is land valuations conducted in Botswana for the purpose of sale, for the purpose of mortgaging, for purpose of compulsory acquisition, and what legal safeguards exist to ensure fair compensation in the country? How is it being done?
Well, I think the first part of your question is how is land valued?
Yes, for purpose of compensation.
No. How is land valued is the question.
Yes, that's a question on its own.
On its own, yes. And then once we have done that, then we can now start talking about compensation, because compensation demands that it be given a fair market value.
Yes.
Which has got professionals who are called valuers, who have studied the art and who must upscale themselves. Because you see now, this is where we have problems with professionals. Once we finish in our tertiary in universities and get certificates, when we enter the marketplace, we start repeating what we find our peers doing. We don't realize that, in fact, we've been given an opportunity to leapfrog, to apply ourselves to the context of the environment that we find ourselves in. The best professional is the one who is locally grown, who has the sensitivity to the circumstances of the environment that he operates in. So when you value land, for example, something that I've scolded the valuers for, and other professionals, is to say, you can't come finding a piece of land on a gazetted development plan and then reflect the value of what is on the lease or the certificate given by the land board and ignore the value of the land as per the statutes, as per the development plan that is gazetted. You can't do that. And and you can only start seeing these subtleties if you are applying yourself. But if you find people,
what is the ideal? What should they be doing?
The ideal is to do the right thing. The ideal is to apply yourself and not to do what you find other people doing. The ideal is to be a professional and who is driven by understanding, deeper understanding of your profession. Ask yourself questions the same way you used to ask yourself questions when you're in school pursuing knowledge. Ask yourself, you should see the disparities, the discrepancies, the inconsistencies in documentation. You should be able to pick a land board certificate and say, it says that Masim, but this is not Masim. You should be able to see that.
Yeah.
And if for you not to be able to see, for you not to have seen that as a professional, it means that you are just following what you find others doing, which is having been done in the country, and that undervalues the country. Now you become part of a culture of people who undervalue the country, undervalue themselves, do not think anything of themselves. Even if they've got everything going for them, they don't realize it, they don't access it, they do nothing about it. And then you start now repeating the mundane and doing things, giving things low values, or meraka, masimu. This is a mentality. Lesupe, tota, dwelling hearts, there are all kinds of things that are out of place with regards to title that are not being done properly. And the only way to correct them is that a professional must come up and say, this is wrong. And
so it seems to me that most valuers are following the straight line, and normally they would say the comparative method versus the income method. Sometimes you find the income method going way up and then the comparative method going way down, or vice versa.
Yes, but there's baselines that comes after ascertaining certain facts.
Yes.
The comparative method and the income method, as you put it, only come after you have finished. You have first and foremost attributed the correct land use for the land, because if you're going to use comparisons, you're going to repeat mistakes, and then we'll never break the chain of unleashing value. So you have to start properly. And if you find other people have been, for example, they use comparables in an area, they will compare and find Massimo Ansara Kokabuka in the area. No, Massimo Ansara is Massimo. So you need to come out of the cycle of ignorance first, then apply the formula. So how do we know Massimo 10 hectares ago, Massimo type? The 10 hectares in the maybe the comparative method, and then you come up with a figure. But all those were undervalued. So what are you really doing? You are repeating the same mistake. So as opposed to if you were to say this piece of land is commercial, and therefore because it's commercial, the value that it should be based on commercial rates.
Yes.
And then you should go to your manual and pick commercial rates.
Per square meter.
Per square meter in that area, and then maybe that income method can kick in. A commercial piece of land, for example, we've got many pieces of land that will amaze you, that perform differently because of whatever attributes that have been accepted on their title. Mama Shia is one such example. One guy will have a field. Alamo Mama Shia, the other guy has got the right thing. Mama Shia right now will be 1 million pula. Is about 1 million pula per hectare.
Now.
Yes, that's why. Yes, and if you break it down to smaller pieces, it does crazy.
Remember, share all the way to Buka.
Yes. That area, that belt, that's defined as Mama Shia has got that value. So, in order to be, because it has been designated by a development plan into that, that value is released. But really, those who bought there. But most of the people bought from others.
Yes, they did.
The original owners, I call them, who were ignorant, and we're trying to stop this cycle of dispossessing Botswana by other groups that come with better knowledge.
Yes.
So he bought it for very little because its actual value. Yes. But now you can't do that no more because we've changed the format by changing the land use.
I guess now you're getting to the second part of my question. What legal safeguards exist to ensure fair compensation, if any?
Well, that is legislated. And it is actually regulated. There is a regulation that guards all that. The regulation is Regulation 18 and 19 of the Tribal Land Act. And that process, and the only thing that I have quibbles with is where the value is established by people who are not mandated by law to issue valuations. When Land Board sends people calling them assessors, who are not professionally trained to do exactly some of the things that you've been mentioning about valuations that require some skill to be applied, then they will do the wrong thing. But fortunately, the Act allows you the right to get an, if you are not satisfied, to get an independent valuer who will then provide that valuation, and then the board will then preside over these two valuations if they are there, and then a ruling will be made. So the safeguards in terms of homo is there, but it is a question of knowing what it takes to get fair compensation. If you don't know, you will accept a resolution that the land board issues and think is the end of the game. You see, the land board law has done a very terroristic, created a very terroristic culture where people don't understand what a land board resolution is just a land board resolution.
Terroristic is a very strong word.
Yes, yes. I use it.
Advisedly?
Yes.
Why?
Because it has terrorized people, caused people to fall sick, to die. It has dispossessed many people. It oppresses the desire for people to get rights and to be able to benefit from a resource that God has provided for them to benefit from. So the land board has perpetuated that culture. You can take a poll anytime and ask people about how they feel about the services that they get from the land board. It's downright terroristic. And it is a culture that is just dealt with in Mobatong with impunity. So it's terroristic in that regard, because but maintain a culture that doesn't give or afford people their due rights, in accordance with the law. Yes.
That's very interesting. I want to talk to you about investors, and specifically cross-border investors. Whether any incentives exist for Botswana investors to cross over and invest in land in other parts of SADC, and vice versa, whether fellow Africans are being encouraged or incentivized to come in and invest in land in the same. The objective being to develop real estate across the continent, or even have people who are deep-pocketed to come and invest in real estate in Botswana. Are there incentives? Are there any zones, for instance? Here I'm touching on special economic zones. Are we able to speak to this issue of cross-border investors?
Yeah, I am more of a person that would like to get the basics right first. I don't think, I think it's premature to leave Botswana and go and try. I think, sometimes we're just too ambitious, and we don't allow the process of growth to take place to completion. A child must grow first and be completely in their skin right. Then they can do great things. If you go, you may find that kind of this problem that we have in Botswana is there in other African countries. I've always said that. The black man has a similar problem. I mean, one of the biggest problems we have is service infrastructure delivery. We don't know the formula, and it is worrisome, concerning. It is disturbing that something that is doable is not being done. So we'll leave Botswana, not solve infrastructure problems like we have problems in the north. You look at Gaborone in the north, complete disaster of a problem that has a solution. But people will not just sit at the table or allow those who care to sit at the table and give the solution and spearhead it and implement it the way it is supposed to be implemented. That is a knowledge, using a knowledge system that is known internationally. The South African situation, every time I watch service delivery, I'm just looking at the protests. They are Coronationville and Westbury. It's been the past 2 days.
It's been trending, yeah.
Oh, it's crazy. They're looking for water. I mean, they can't solve the water problem in South Africa. The ANC government doesn't know where to start.
Yeah.
The baby saying the government of national unity. Yes, I know some of them, especially in the Cape, know. This is the knowledge thing of what to do. How to do it. It's not a question of there's no money.
What essentially is at the heart of the complaint or the problem?
Service delivery. Service delivery. I mean, it's like
water is not getting to people's houses.
Yeah, because the infrastructure is continuously breaking down. And we have a similar situation in Kopakana. And I was telling the group members about the area I live in, Kibarakiri. It's really crazy if you think about it. It's like one guy who collects the rent. Okay? You own the house, right? And he collects the rent. And then the one who uses that house, when things break down, you own the house, I get it. Yes. Somebody else lives there. And then that person pays rent to somebody else. But when he has problems, he wants you who have the title deed to the house to repair. You don't have the money because you're not collecting the rent.
Yeah.
So Gaborone City Council collects the rent. The rent is the rates.
The rates,
Yeah, but the person who owns the land is Pakalan. But Pakalan has handed it over in a very strange way to council. Gaborone City Council. Gaborone City Council hasn't seen the need to take proper ownership, but they want to maintain with the drips and drabs at the rates that they're not collecting well anyway. So when there's damage, and then water utilities comes and bursts pipes on top of land that is owned by Pakalan Estate, but rates paid by if I was to show you this on a logic circuit chart, it's a complete meltdown of thinking and logic.
Really?
And how, yes, you don't do that. The person who owns, logically, the reason why I'm using the example here, you own the house and somebody else is correcting the rate, is because I want to show you how ridiculous it is. It's your house. You collect the rates. You collect the rent. The house is yours.
That's what's expected.
That's what is expected. But no, in infrastructure, that's not what is happening. It's a complete quagmire, if you were to call it that, operationally, on the ground. And why that's the reason Africa is not providing first-class services, because we don't know how to marry the rates. It's income with title. So you don't need an extra input from anywhere. It is to rearrange these things so that they speak the language of development and maintenance, so that you can maintain. And to maintain, you would say, let me give you an example. Allow me, please.
No.
You own the house.
Yes.
You have the title. I live in your house. I pay the rent.
Yes.
You take that rent. You go to, there's a major repair work that needs to happen in the house.
Like
Take
a
off the
vest
ceiling,
pipe.
The rent that I'm paying, you cannot be able to use it to repair instantly because it's too little. If you have to overhaul a whole, the roof is leaking, it's too much. I'm paying you too little. If I pay you, you'll keep doing it and stopping. So how do you do it? You take the title, and you go and pledge the title as security for a facility from a financer, whichever financer, pledge it as security, and the repayment will be the rental. Like, it is commitment.
Yes.
Somebody who pay that. Yes, brother. And then as you get that facility, you go and repair the whole roof. And then everything is honky-dory. Then you don't owe, and the person, you're not paying anything.
No.
It's been paid for by this guy. Then he clears. Then everybody is happy. It is easy to see it when I talk of an individual and a home, but we fail to see the same thing when it comes to infrastructure for everyone, when it comes to provision of water. Anyway, these servitudes are not a joke. They're not an option. As I see the leaders and whatnot, people think we speak these things because they're optional. We've made them sound optional because we wanted to attract you to the message. But now it's time for us to tell you that you have no choice. This is the way it's done, and you can't do it any other way. And if you don't do it the right way, this time that we're in, you are bound to experience complete catastrophe, because the growth of society has reached the point. That's why in places like Bowesbury, Coronation Village, it's exploding now.
In South Africa.
It will explode at some point, because people must have water. You can't choke people with dust the way they're choking people with dust and think it's sustainable. The people in Gaborone North now are getting fed up. They don't even know what the problem is. Somebody has to come and explain this problem and put it in simple terms and explain it and lead the
For
effort
instance,
to correct it.
why is there no asphalt? Why is there no paving?
Yeah, and the rates have been
On the roads,
collected.
yeah.
And the rates have been collected.
Why?
Why? Because the one who owns the servitudes is not the one who's collecting the rates. It's a mismatch, a misalignment that creates a problem for financing.
The one who collects the rates, what do they do with those funds?
They misappropriate them. Yes, they misappropriate them. Rates must be appropriated to the asset, the exact asset, for it to make sense.
Does the rate payer have any basis to object or to refuse to pay?
He can, but it's not going to be helpful. Because you need to solve the problem. The problem is not to refuse to pay. The problem, you want services, right?
Yes.
Yes, let's show you how you get services. Let us do detailed studies that we don't have to do in too much time, because they can be done using the technology that we have today. And we have done a high market not high market, high level analysis for Gaborone North. And we're ready with my brother to present it to the authorities. And I'm happy to say, like I believe, as I said to you earlier, change is coming. Change is on the way. The leaders, some of them,
Is there
are
an
listening.
awakening?
Oh yes. I get calls. I mean, there'll be a symposium. The local government and Lenza having a symposium. They've called us. They say, "Come on, brother," because we don't tire. No, we don't tire from talking and explaining and breaking it down so that even a baby can understand. Because this is what will take to bring about the larger than Dubai dream. It'll take the uptake of knowledge, good knowledge, functional knowledge, working knowledge, not dead knowledge, not theories, things that can solve problems.
So let me be the first to peep into your presentation. What essentially are you going to present there?
Well, effectively what we will do is demonstrate with a case study. We will take Gaborone North as a case study and take, when we create, when we don't follow the rules, things get muddy and then complicated rather. In the course of time, when you look back at what you should have done that you didn't do, you realize, oh my God, now look at what has happened. Rights have exchanged hands. People have left their rights in Gaborone North without knowing. And some of them are dead. We're going to go back and look for their estates, look for their executors, look for their heirs, and tell them that this is yours. You need to help us.
One of them is a Sitiro estate.
Oh yes, we know the KB. Yes, Nele Mushawa.
Sitirisho. Not
Yes,
Sitiro.
we're looking for those. They're very important. They own so much land, and they didn't know. So we are here to show them what they own, and then go into these various. Again, there is Mushawa and Gaborone North. The KBs would go to them as well because we need to solve the problem. And there's only one way of solving the problem. You do a deed search. You go back in history to where the farm started. You see, Gaborone North is not Pakalani. It's different set of circumstances.
Yeah.
We've got Bosentane that have come up. That problem will still obtain. Then we've got Pakalani itself has that problem. It needs to be solved. And the cities have that problem. They are not being done properly. It is not handouts that creates sustainable infrastructure and maintains it so that we don't have these glitches, these break-in pipes, these problems, endless problems. Any scheme in place to attend to them as and when those breaks them. So, Maria was also an aliting, and Maria akana aliting. All you need to do is organize it. Put it right, get the right things in place, manage your things through a system that is tried and tested, and that is what other nations know that
parts,
we don't know. That we don't know, and they look at us. Now we want to go into other things. No, we are not ready to go into this. It's premature. A black man must master himself first. Master where you're from. Then when we step out of the country, we'll be fortified to go and help our brothers and sisters in other countries to become just as proficient and knowledgeable and efficient to help them solve the needless problems that they have, their infrastructure all throughout Africa. It is worrisome. It is a big concern for me that your infrastructure and something must give.
That's very interesting. I should attend it. When is it, the conference?
The symposium is on the 23rd. I'm yet to, the location I think would be announced. It's on the 23rd of September, yes. 23rd of September.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, another issue that I want to deal with is the conflict between customary law and statutory law. But I think the way to deal with it is to understand the type of legal challenges you've been trying to unravel. I know for a fact that there's been a series of judgments that has been decided in your client's favor. So subject to the issue of confidentiality, are you able to share with us how you are unraveling and unpacking the situation?
Yes. And it's good that we're having these conversations in the month of September because the month of September is the symbolic month of our independence.
Yes.
Where we are able now, Ghana independence is a very powerful word. Yes. It means a lot. It means one is able to clothe, shelter, feed themselves, medicate themselves without the need of another.
Yes.
Independence, as humans, we are created to be independent in the reflection of God in that way. So these cases that deal with various aspects, one of which is one of the biggest is that which has to do with development plans and the right compliance, which we found authorities were all over the place in understanding, thinking that confusing compliance and change of land use.
Yes.
And I just want to get into that a little bit so that
give the background.
Compliance and change of land use are two different things. The authorities, as we speak, currently are having a problem in understanding that. And we are patient because these are our brothers and sisters. We need to get their buy-in. Rona, we are done. You see now, this is the problem. When you teach, you don't teach for yourself. You teach because you want to convince the other party. You want to show. And what I will demonstrate that. Not to crash, but to demonstrate. It's not a competition. So compliance, when there is a plan, and you are asked to comply to it, the plan is there. All you are being asked to is just to comply. But there is a difference between when there is a plan and you want to vary an aspect of it. That is change of land use. So the authorities have in their heads made it is the same thing. Yes, because if you vary, you are varying a statute, or you're varying something that is statutorily provided for. If just to give you an example, if it was a commercial plot and you want to change it to civic and community, you are changing. Now, if you have an agricultural plot and you want to make it comply to a civic and community on a plan, you are also changing in their minds. Agree effectively, it leads to title being changed.
Yes.
At the end of the day, how varia, the title will change. And how comply, the title will also change. But compliance is not change of land use.
No, it's not.
Yes.
It's not.
Compliance means to come into conformance with that which has already been established by law, by statute. It's there already. In fact, you don't have a choice but to comply. But to change means now you are trying to vary that which statutorily has been established and gazetted. You want to vary. That is change of land use.
To the point of changing the development plan.
To the point of changing that which is in the development plan. A change of land use. So now the authorities have this thing mixed up as one in their head. And they're saying there's only one way of doing it. So we're trying to gently...
When you say the authorities, is it across the board? Or
across the board.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. Again, now we test all of them everywhere. The PS feels this way. No insult. The directors feel this way. No insult. The board chairman, the board secretaries, they feel this way. The director of town and country planning feels this. I've sat with them in a meeting. I've got minutes. It's not secret. Again, we don't deal in the dark.
No.
There's any more point in saying, and we want to go out in the public and say, look at this. And look at how these authorities believe in this way, or this is that. Compliance is compulsory. So change of land use is not compulsory. Change of land use...
So it requires you opening their eyes to get them to say, aha.
Yes, and judgments are there. You know, the human being is very funny. There's a judgment that speaks very authoritatively to that which I'm saying. And it explains it exactly the way I'm doing, even more. But if you show it to them, you know what they do? You would show it to them. And they will literally, by reflex, you will see their heads turn and they will look the other way and say nothing. They will not address themselves to this thing. That's why it is a psychological problem also. In that,
no, if a judge of the High Court or the judge of the Land Tribunal saw it so clearly, why are they finding it difficult to appreciate it?
My brother, it is amazing to watch. It is. You would need to be in my space, in my world, in the sort of work that I do, see it, and it'll boggle your mind.
I am. I'm part of your group, and I've seen
absolutely, brother,
shocking things. So perhaps we can speculate as to the type of mindset that
it is. The mindset.
Yeah.
It is the mindset, and when a mind does that, you need to keep. You can't. Keep quiet. This is why we are repeatedly in their faces. This is why we are constantly, because, and the judge at the tribunal, the president of the tribunal, was asking the lawyer that was up against me in one case. It took him an hour. He was asking him the same question. Had development planning rezonele helo. le helo leo ga e stola e le sene le sone a go mo ha rogana le gone. He couldn't answer that question comfortably. He starts going into there's that me. I get to development plan. They're afraid. And you know, it reminded me of what Nelson Mandela once said. He said, our problem is, our greatest fear is not that we're poor, but our greatest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. The possibility of
we're accepting by own power.
Yes, the possibility of just accepting this, it scares them because it will unleash and produce a whole new world. If the technocrats were just to accept reality, because there's no point in your reality.
Yeah.
If they keep not accepting reality, they will end up in the same way that their predecessors ended up. Because people, right now, the best position to be in is to be on the people's side. Because they're waking up fast nowadays.
Yeah.
Let me say, they're waking up fast nowadays. The word is hitting people in different places.
So just break down the legal reasoning and the conclusion and maybe guide us as to the judgments you are referring to.
Well, I mean, you know, there's several judgments, brother. These judgments, I mean, I don't want to, top of my head, I wouldn't be able, I could just give you maybe about 4 or 3. But the reasoning is this. The reasoning is when a development plan has been gazetted, all parcels of land that fall within that planning area adopt the land use as encapsulated in the development plan. That's the legal use of those pieces of land, nothing else. Now, the other
that's in terms of the Act.
That's in terms of the Act. It's Section 20, subsection 8. It becomes operative on the date of its gazettement. It is done. Now, the reality on the ground, which the authorities entertain, look, Mama Shia, we'll be having meetings with them, they say things. You will be shocked to hear them wanting to hold on to the old way of thinking.
Even when the Act is there and the judgment is
absolutely. Even with judgments. You read the judgment. Don't go the judgment. It is the Maung Tribunal judgment versus Northwest District Council. It's a landmark home. Then you've got others that came after us now. The one Yaha Elias Ositi. Then you've got one Yaha Polignani, Yagumutsudi. Then you've got one Yaha, I forget, but I mean, you know, top of my mind. Yes, the thing, and you and I had it, and how about the Balela, Obala, and the unchallenged, or the Bala, word to word. Yakachil Robela versus Homo is very thorough. The judge wants into versus Northwest District Council. They have it. I go to Maung a lot, and I go there and argue with them on the basis, you'll present the same argument without challenging that other judgment and get us to argue the same argument that was argued before. Intransigence at its best. They will not leave a position.
They're supposed to be bound by precedent.
Yeah, they're not. Completely not bound by precedents because they don't want to exceed to the change that is upon us. Something that you cannot stop. An idea whose time has come. When it has come, it must happen. It's dangerous to get in the way. So just be careful when you're handling us, because even the people, the way they are coming forward and the passion and the energy that I see, you don't see it.
I see some of it. I've attended some of your presentations. I've seen it.
Absolutely, brother.
Sometimes you've presented here. I've seen it.
And
I'm part of the group, remember.
No, I know.
I may not say a lot, but I'm watching.
No, it's fine, brother. I understand you. You don't see it. In private sets. Private moments with people.
Yes.
I have old ladies coming to me, coming to sit there and say, we heard you, you are right. Even the old, even the ignorant are saying that this is the truth. And it is producing in them hope. The thing that they have always been terrorized about, they didn't understand. Finally, some understanding has been produced by the universe to put that away, hopefully permanently, so that we can come into a new era where rights are observed, where things can happen.
The rule of law becomes the rule of law.
The rule of law becomes the rule of law.
Yeah.
Not to keep They will do anything. They do all sorts of shenanigans. Who are doing the shenanigans as we speak. They will be told to do something. About change. We've got them back about contempt. Authorities. And in the day, the new government, we have the same BDP mentality. BDP civil service in a UDC government. That's what's happening. And they are doing the same
So nothing
things.
has changed.
That's what I'm saying. Nothing has changed on the ground. It's even getting worse. Okare Kanayano down steroids now. I don't know. Maybe it's because.
But a little thought pops into my head as to how God has blessed you, my brother, to be able to have these advocacy skills, to be able to argue and articulate these points. How did you manage to do that? Did you pray over it? Did you meditate over it? For you to be able to stand up against so-called experienced litigators, lawyers, advocates who are arguing this quote-unquote wrong law and being able to prevail against them. Because that, to me, is a miracle here.
Yeah, it can only be God, brother. It can only be God. Whenever you see something you can explain, because I too can I can answer that question. I'm not going to claim any of this.
You haven't spent 5 years in a law law class, and you have, and yet you're able to quote the relevant sections, cite the relevant precedents, argue forcefully. I agree with you. It can only be.
Yes, you see, and that's the danger. If it is God, just think about the possibility. Let's imagine that it is actually God doing this. What do you think these detractors, these that will want to stop this, the intransigents, who do you think they're up against? If it is God, because Linda, I'm really amazed. In fact, in awe.
Because it seems to me then change then to some extent is inevitable.
It's inevitable. It's inevitable. That's what the young ones have said. I mean, I've got young planners who come. In fact, every time I have a tribunal case, they come, the youngsters, they pick me up already. A lot happens that I don't see. Now we're talking like this. Can't I'm affecting people, different places. I'm talking on 2 minutes message, almost patela. Listening to me in the radio on Monday, whoa, I heard you. I was talking about rules of engagement, how we should engage with authorities. People should know this. We would sit, we study. I have my mentee there who studies with me and keeps me young. Make sure all the little nooks and things are tied down and ushers to me all the knowledge that I need to have and waxes me, and I feel invincible sometimes after I get what I need. And the sword is so sharp. It's not my sword. Change must happen. The knowledge must come out. Things must start changing, and we start having to do the right thing so that we can gain a piece of heaven.
Okay. There was a time when in Botswana, taxation in the form of transfer duty was very high for non-locals. It was then adjusted to a lower amount. I think it's 15% now. What is your take on all that hullabaloo where the foreign investors were saying we cannot participate in the heart of the economy, which is land, because of these crazy transfer duty amounts, to the point where they were reduced and now they're marginally better, although still not as low as they are for citizens for purpose of transfers?
Well, if it helps, I don't really advocate for foreign direct investment in that way. If we do this, it will become a deterrent, like a constraint on that part to take part in our economy meaningfully. Now I'm more bound to the local. That if he is not given the wherewithal, then it's self-defeating, whatever else that we do. Yes, even if they give the foreigners incentives to quote-unquote invest, because you see this word invest, it's problematic for me, because I asked another guy that he can break it down for me. Well, what exactly do you mean by invest? Yeah, because how I invest or exploitation, and then you call it investment. We use words, and then sometimes we don't interrogate the true meaning of those words. What invest what? What is it that you are bringing to me that you want from me? Because you're not just giving me money, and money Ghana is not money. It's now our study or our research has led us to believe what money, the land is the mind. So in needing those who come in, and I see there's a lot of Chinese buying land. There's a lot of, and it's on account of the fact that those who own the land are being denied their rights and therefore cannot benefit from it. So they end up letting it go. So so to incentivize foreigners, for me, is not the solution to the problem.
Does it make things used?
In fact,
does it lead to landlessness for locals?
Yeah, well, the servitude, obviously, it leads to you now becoming subservient to those who have now gained control over your land, because now you lend yourself over to them as workers and whatnot. And it's just to create this permanent underclass.
The argument that the economy needs it to be vibrant, that it's really, really important to keep foreigners. Some have argued that the Dubais of this world, the Americas of this world, are what they are because of foreign investment. So we should attract it at all costs.
Of course. You remember the interests. You remember when they say that a white man's heaven is a black man's hell? Yes. Remember this difference in our worlds.
Yeah.
What's good for it's not, it creates that. So, yes, they might say that. Now, I think what is good is for us to have full control of our land and destiny. Then we will dictate to the foreigner the nature of the relationship. Not to try and attract him when we ourselves are not benefiting. No, that is an imbalance. You are selling the country, basically. That's exactly what you're doing. If you're not going to give people...
In other words, they can still participate in the development of the land without surrendering of ownership.
Exactly. This buying thing is a problem. They can come and lease. Hey, we're not leasing, but for them to lease, I must have title to lease it to them. So if you deny me title, then they will come and buy using resolutions, as is happening now. They just come, everywhere go on the Odi corridor, some of the best place that we have in this country, which is the Mama Shia Odi corridor. It's going to be, you can see the future when you look at it, what the future would look like. They've not given people title, so people are tired, exhausted, sitting on commercial belts. So those who buy know what it's commercial. They don't need title. They just get the resolution and bring in money from outside to invest. Now you see this thing of not giving people title. You see this thing of not giving people the right land use. You are shortchanging Botswana by not doing that which you should be doing and rendering them to become subservient or subordinate or a permanent underclass to foreigners. We need to break that curse. It's a curse. We must constantly be we need to empower ourselves so that these people come in and we make money from them. Foreign direct investment, in my opinion. It's exploitation, and it's a remnant. It's a reminiscent of our past,
of our
colonial past.
Are there any green shoots, any positive stories, any specific victories which have actually translated in a solid fashion since we last met, that we always like to celebrate the positive side?
Oh yes. Are you joking? You know, right, so that when God is intervened, there will always be miracles in different parts. Miracles not in the form of something happening that we don't know how it happens, but some unusual occurrence that we are never used to heretofore. So the conversion of borehole rights into farms is taking place. We've gotten about 2 or 3 done, and it's amazing to watch. And the authorities are freaked out at the possibility of us transforming the landscape of this country and fencing out this communal, these disorganized, decrepit and degrading land parcels that we call communal land. What is communal land? What is that? So
what happened in those 2 or 3 instances? I'm so curious.
No, you see now, the tribal grazing land policy always was geared towards that. The whole idea of TGLP was to fence tribal grazing land. Tribal grazing land is where we were before when the white man found us. And when he saw us, he just ignored us and set up farms without doing no elaborate study. You fence. Now, we then subjected ourselves to these bureaucratic studies and whatnot, because we always overthink things, and then we don't even reduce
environmental impact assessment.
All these things are just meant to deter. They are not used in a proper way. They are used to punish people or to make it impossible to reach
the
end. Make it very hard. Yeah, which it shouldn't be. Hey, so we are now rationalizing policies and then the same tribal grazing land policy was then updated in 1991 through government paper number 1 of 1991. Is it number 1, I think? Of 1991, yes, and recommendations were given afresh, and they determined more cattle come from this communal grazing land, the cattle that go to BMC.
Than from the big farms.
Yes, about 80% or so. But it is the worst managed, with soil erosion, degradation, complete. I don't want to use rough words, but it is being misused, and for that reason, we're saying that we're losing an opportunity to be able to look after this grazing land which constitutes about 40-50% of the country.
Yeah.
Lots of grazing land that's just going to waste because of phobia. You are doing something wrong. But the policy said communities and individuals must be allowed, in a recommendation in that paper, 1991, university, this thing was put there. But no, professionals are getting busy with the red race and other things, and the quickest way to make money. Not going into statute, not going to find out that these are things we brought to the fore.
Do you fence as an individual, or you fence as a syndicate?
Either way. There are different kinds of farms, brother. You can fence as a community and have a communal farm. But fenced, it is wrong to say that we shouldn't fence as individuals. Communities or individuals can fence. So if you have rights, you have borehole rights. Those borehole rights accord you a 6-kilometer radius. That 6-kilometer radius means you share with your owner 3-3. That's your 6x6 right there.
Yeah.
But even then, if you don't get 6x6, if you get 2x2, 3x3, 4x4, 1x1, fence, own a piece of real estate where you are, so that you can be able to manage it better, grow your livestock and manage movement and do all the other great things that come from there.
And even be able to source funding using it.
Sorry? And even be able to source funds using it, and also allow us to be able to bring in the model infrastructure so that we can reduce the farming costs. It's not dreams. These things are possible. We can transform agriculture and make it fun.
So how did you do it, Sesinyi? I'm so excited.
Cluster by cluster. Number one, anytime when you have a borehole, come. Then we'll determine the circumstances. We'll do your own localized research. And then we'll do a geometry. It's just a geometric exercise where we'll then determine and then make an application. I mean, I saw a man, he's got 2,000 cattle in the middle of nowhere. 2,000 cattle, hybrid and everything. I felt sorry for him. But the next neighbor is like 10 kilometers away. Why is he not fencing? He is producing a lot of cattle and he could do much better for the country. There are serious farmers in communal areas. And a limo di place in Tota. Di place le tsone di na le problem a gore di place se ke nna gore meraka di place ke tsona tlhaloganya. Because limo place mo you are supposed to do certain things. There must be pathways ha di kgomo di tsamayang teng. There must be paddocks. There must be everything must be rationalized so that it makes sense. We must use figures and determine break even, for example. Farmers, we do it as a hobby. Break-even analysis. We must know how much money it takes to get a beast ready for market.
So where do you source the necessary approvals to see this through?
The first port of call is land board. They're the land authorities. So you're asking for a ranch. So when you're asking for a ranch, and land board is now also under statutory instrument number 26 of 2024, being given the rights to be able to render on subdivisions and things like that as a planning function that is being added to land board. So how we use land board, we use an application allocation. Yes. And then how about the subdivider? You still go back to the land board to show these cut lines. These cut lines must be proper servitudes. Madi a duelwan, kini farmer ready duela land board. I misappropriate. Madi a watsonso nkaba I see towards that asset. Ya di servitudes the cut line. Rete reba tratele, rete retsenye ditsela. Tsedi nang le bothale mo te retsenye metsi, retsenye sporo, retsenye. Go nne motho go go farm. You wake up in the morning, get in a train, take your rucksack, go to a farm and go and spend your day there, finish, come back and sleep in gaps. Farming, the cost of production will go so low. It will be easier. Instead of how you have to have a cruiser, it's too expensive. No. What about just getting to a farm and getting into a go-kart or pay some functional area where anybody can be a farmer, because we have put in the effort of planning the farming. We have put in the effort of planning the veld, the hinterlands, planning the whole country. Nobody can stop us. Nobody is going to come and help us do this. We are going to do this ourselves, and we are busy with it.
In these 2 or 3 instances where you manage, how did you overcome the usual resistance?
It is very interesting. It is very interesting that this application for a conversion from a borehole to a ranch, I've never been to tribunal. This one is very interesting. It is like when I speak to them about it, they hear. I was doing another one in Maung, and they asked me. The only question that they asked was, have you done a detailed study of the area? Because I'm not changing land use. It's already livestock. Communal grazing is livestock, so I'm just fencing, brother. Yeah, but I'm not changing, any land use.
So there's no need for a detailed
study to do what to fence. But what you have done is observed thoroughfares, observed movements, observed the rights of your neighbors in terms of what if there's another borehole. Observe those rights. But and if there are people who own. Because I get out one plus in say some more communal farms. You can have huge communal farms. In fact, they're not communal land, they should be a farm.
Yes.
Yeah, should be a huge farm. We can have big chunks, and then maybe if we do big chunks and work our way down from there, it'll make better sense. Lady Bafara was explaining. Because Bafara must have title. Who said how Bafara cannot have title? Who says that? Buffer just means that the activity there, it is meant to buffer from the activity here. So I can have a buffer and create arable agriculture buffer. Okay? And then that way we are fine. We still have title.
Yes.
So there's no excuse. One of these 20-kilometer buffers. That's all us. And wanting to justify in our minds that makes us afraid to come out of poverty.
I want us to quickly move on and touch on the issue of public-private partnerships. In a previous episode, you were talking about this colonialist called Cecil John Rhodes, and he seemed to have mastered the art of public-private partnerships, and even doing something that no one else has done since he passed on at his level, where he's created this railway line. We're still stuck with it. How can we recharge and redevelop some of those ideas? Because from my understanding from your last conversation, the knowledge should be there. How can we do it? We're talking in terms of the corridor, Trans-Kalahari corridor and things like that. Can you help us see what your latest thinking is on the subject?
It is always important not to assume that we know how something happens. And in our education, and I was talking to my mentee there, some people want to think that you can create, just allow me, I'm coming to that question, you can create value from other things and collateral from other things. You can create collateral from bonds. You can create, like I saw the council had entered into some memorandum of understanding, Gaborone City Council, I believe, with the Botswana Stock Exchange. For now, they're going to create municipality bonds. So the bonds seems like a magical thing that is going to save the situation.
Yeah.
So I was saying to my brother, it's very sad that we are doing everything. And I listen to some professionals and intellectuals and make presentations on other alternative collateral arrangements that can be made. And I said to myself, it's very interesting because it's almost like we're doing everything we can to avoid the mother of all things. Because you see, even a non-fungible token in the form of an emoji or any other rights that you can create anywhere else that it's not physical need you to have woken up in the morning and eaten.
Yes.
Yeah, need you to have clothed and bathed and and where would you be bathing from? These are byproducts.
Yes.
And it's a higher end type of security. or asset that depends on the land. The land comes first. And if you start talking bonds and other means of homo, you can, if you will. But now the one who masters the root of it will always manipulate you from there.
Okay.
So even if they go to space and start doing things in space, they've mastered how to manage land on Earth. Yeah, these guys know exactly how the land pattern works on the physical plane. Now they go into the non-physical plane. And then we want to skip a step in the class and go into A. Standard whatever. 7A.
Yeah.
So, that's a problem. So the model able on roads is it's a fundamental principle. Yeah, how income streams that are directed towards assets form the basis of development and maintenance. And even if it is not triple P, or it is triple P, or it is whatever other configuration that you can think of, get that right first. Understand the basic principle of what every income stream is related to an asset, and then quantify it. We shouldn't be afraid to look at business from a point of view of financials, and that makes sense. One of the things that Botswana farmers don't want to do is to look at the break-even analysis spreadsheet and look at, okay, in terms of getting this beast from point A to point B, it can go to the market, how much does it cost me? If it costs you 15K and you are selling it for 6, you're making a loss.
It's like going to the bank for a loan without knowing your balance sheet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to know where you stand.
Everything must
the
be out in
banker
the
has
open.
to know first.
Exactly. So we have to do things right from the get-go. Read or no. One. So, the investor. Do we understand what they want from us and what we want from them? Because the land itself and our spending power, because we spend. It's not somebody else spending.
It's us.
It's us. Again, we go to work, then what's only organizing the transportation network? It's pathetic the way the companies and getting. And you'll always find because it is the chaotic models that we service the public with that creates all this untidiness, where there are shacks everywhere.
So basically, we're saying we need to get the basics right.
Basics right. Where you are, asset.
The fundamentals.
Fundamentals. Asset. Establish the asset. Get title for it. If we are still going to continue with this mentality and attitude towards title, that means our title can just be up in the air forever. If we are still going to continue by not solving land problems that are before us because we don't know, if we don't know the solution, we should go and sit down with those who may have better understanding and then make decisions. In a state of limbo where people have got land and there are so many things hanging, brother. You've got like the issues that they're just hanging for years. The attitude is so nonchalant. They are very, very, casual. And then they will leave things stay like that. And I think it's sometimes because they don't know. When you don't know and they're afraid to come forward and say, please help us. We don't know. Can you help us with this situation? It's not moving. It's not getting us anywhere.
For instance, under the previous government, transfers were so difficult and so slow. Has anything improved?
No.
Not even one single thing.
If anything, it has gotten worse. How
can we then improve, given the state of the economy, the endless talk? How can we improve if we don't straighten this out and survive?
Exactly. Certain things we know. We are not our forefathers. No, we are not. We are not in terms of understanding.
Yes.
Yeah, we do understand. And we went to school. Remember, we don't think of money the way my grandma. I don't think of money the way my grandmother thought of money. No. So you can tell me there's no money when there is land. You can't. I'll tell you what, you are running away from the fact that you don't know how to use the land. And you are not using the land properly because the land will produce the money. If you let us show you how. And we've been doing it at individual level, at our own little localized levels, having people to get things happening. And it happens right in your face. Mama Shah is there. Go and see it.
So
it's not a dream.
You don't buy into this idea that we're economically in dire straits.
No, we are mentally in dire straits. It is because the season is catching up with us. And that is why this idea or these ideas are present in the same time when these problems are there. It's because God will allow a season to come. And no seed germinates out of season. When a seed the conditions are right, that is when the shoot goes down. And the shoot goes down to gain strength on the earth.
Yes.
Before the thing goes up.
Yeah.
So this is happening because it is the time for the seed to germinate. You cannot stop it. So, but the leaders will do well to say, come, let's sit down as brothers and sisters. Come to the table of brotherhood. Let's sit down and engage. And Brother Gilbert and my mentee here, we are there. We are ever so willing, ever so eager, enthusiastic. We live and breathe this
thing. And it
thing.
seems to me you have a huge following. How many people are in that Facebook page and that WhatsApp group?
If you notice, I avoid seeing the magnitude of the effect of the work.
Yeah.
I always try and run away from that. Even
Why?
though I don't know, I think it'll distract me.
Yeah.
It will corrupt the energy field.
Yeah.
I want to focus. The numbers are there. The numbers are there. As I say, I get people come to, I meet strangers now. I get emotional in the mall. Yes, a guy in the filling station, in the whatnot, in the hospital, they come. We heard you, Brother Kerry. It's okay. It's okay because you heard what I am inspired by, not me per se. I even sometimes tell my mentees, not me, brother, it's not me. I don't want to take ownership of something too big, much bigger than me. Sometimes I'm saying I'm just a fool.
As we now get closer to the end of our conversation, I'm curious as to how you foresee things developing. Obviously, there's still 4 years left for the new government. And also, one thing we don't have is time, and something has to. You talked of something clicking, and that we're on the verge, but you said that 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah. So what can you say now? What project are we on, and what can we look forward to around the corner?
Yes. No, I think what has happened that is very magical is that God has created the climate. In fact, I had said that the waning of the economy was part of God's work to get us to pay attention to a message that will completely catapult us. You know, that click is a click that will be produced by God himself. It is nothing that we are just going to be the soldiers, the ground soldiers for it to happen. So the time is so opportune because the leaders are listening. They hear. Oh yes, I get calls even from the leaders. And this is something I must say about this government. Yes. I've got, calls from the leaders. Brother, I want you to come and present at the symposium because I've been following your advocacy on infrastructure and what communities can do and community-based organizations can do to uplift themselves. Brother, come forward. We want to hear what you have to say. Brother, I get a call from so and so. Brother, are you for real? Brother, so there is a general realization. And that realization, the eagerness in us is ever so sharp, as you know. We don't sleep, So these are the ingredients that, and then members of the community also are yearning for this change to happen. So everything in the pot, the garlic is in there. You've got your spice, the pot is boiling, it's simmering. So what it'll take is just a moment designed by God. And the understanding, hopefully the penny will drop for those who have the power to make the decisions to make this happen. Because it is them that it is in the hands of. Yeah. And you notice, interestingly, he didn't place it in my hands. Oh. What a God.
He placed it?
He placed it in the hands of others. I don't give you the power. Can you believe if I was a minister? Can you imagine what will happen?
Minister of Lands.
If I was Minister of Lands, which I should be if all things were equal.
Yeah.
But no, God says no. You're not the minister. You're the teacher to the minister. So you go out there and teach the masses. Reach them. Illuminate them. You make more progress that way. And then eventually God, perchance, if he's willing, he will bless them to open their minds. So, Homo, ke dumela gore go tlo go iragala because ba ne ba le happily the last government were not listening. The same message was around, but they were not listening, and the people
there was an element of arrogance
and
there.
It was God doing that, brother. You don't listen to the people, we remove you. Even these ones will even maybe worse for them, and I think they will do better to realize gore tota hela exceed, and if they exceed they will be in power for the next 10 years.
Sometimes I say to my mentees that one of my primary tasks is to create multimillionaires. That the objective is to teach. It's not just about money, but it's only when you are successful that you can be able to impact others sometimes. So we need to take the scales from your eyes so that you can see. And I think that's the objective behind some of your mentorship programs, your symposia. I want you to tell people as we conclude what you are doing in that regard, where we can expect to see you, all these symposia and trainings and education efforts. Just tell us what you've packaged for the people.
Normally what is happening, what I've done is that if you will notice my outfit, for example, I don't have a podcast. I come to you for that, see? I don't have the only thing we drive are master classes. We are called for a farmers conference. Farmers are an area of great interest for us nowadays. They become real topical because we have looked into farming, into mining, and my mentee and I have really put on our glasses and tried to sort of like really
take a closer look.
Yeah, take a closer look using the same spirit and energy and bringing it to all aspects where we can. So we remain. I mean, there's a conference coming up in October. It's Farmers Conference. I'm one of the panelists.
I think I've been invited also.
Yes. So and then there's also the symposium that's coming up, and then we're having another masterclass in a week at the University of Botswana, where we hold our master classes. This we maintain, and we have informal meetings. When parking, we meet to meet people. And then meet and greet. We can go to UB. Friday we'll be going to UB just to meet the students and just talk to them about possibilities. Keep the children interested. Tell them things. Tell them stories like we were told stories when we were young. So le bone. Ba bolele dionyana. Ba bolele ka gore ba gona go ira di toothpick, ba gona go ira melora, le di perfume, ba bolele gore ba gona go ira diaparo, le gore diaparo di tswa kae. Ba bolele gore galase a dirwa. They mustn't stop thinking gore we can't do anything. I mean, I was saying you go to university, wa go tswa go university ga o itse go dira la ile why can't Irozoko University with a cell phone? What stops that? What is a cell phone? What is a radio? Can't you do a radio? Why do you need? And you can buy the parts and put it together. Buy the parts. What does it take? I mean, Mazezuru are a community that produce things that we use. Why is education the way it is that you go to school and come out and all you have is just theory? Why when I started about fourth year, mechanical engineering. Give it no name. We don't need a name to it. We just want to know that you know how to the making of things. How are things
when
made?
You say that, sorry to interrupt. When you say that, I read in the papers that there's a phenomenon now where completing students from from secondary school, the best performers are opting for brigades, to the point where the mediocre performers who used to go to brigades are finding it difficult to find spaces. Is this a phenomenon we observed? Because I thought that's an interesting change in the last year or so.
I can imagine. I mean, I think the kids definitely have picked up this inadequacy. Problem. But now I don't want to even distinguish brigades and whatnot. Now, as long as it's an institution of learning, I want people to be taught things in the institution of learning. But it's possible. Cheese is rotten milk. You mean they can't rot milk? Is that a problem? I mean, do you need a brigade for that? I mean, there's so many things that can be done with not too much complication. We do toothpicks. What's wrong with just doing toothpicks and branding them? Because the kids interested in being part of some activity.
I was asking whether you've seen a pattern change and more awareness of these young ones now opting away from white-collar jobs and choosing.
I haven't paid attention, I must be honest.
But somebody had written about it, so we need to observe whether it's true.
The kids now are driving themselves because we are failing them. I mean, we are failing the kids. Because they can't be absorbed. You don't need to be absorbed. You don't need to look for a job when you come from a proper institution of learning. You create jobs because you become a force by yourself. Because I mean, they don't even know where paper is made. Yet they are chemistry students. You can make soap, just soap. They've got all the directions to make soap. But they won't make it.
Say, we're coming towards the end of our conversation. I wish we had more time. I'd like you to give us your outlook as we wrap up. Make it positive, please, in terms of your outlook over the next 5-10 years. You've said this before, but I want to see whether it's going to be consistent.
No, actually, because this is not really my doing, sir. I'm just one of the servants of this great work. So change is already happening. What I told you was to happen 4 years ago. It's happening. It's actually happening. Yes. You know, the preparation for the click. Before the click, there needs to be preparation.
Yeah.
Yes, there is enough momentum. Even your classes are part of that. The consciousness level, the mentorship that you are running, and people, the numbers you are getting, the interest you are getting, your books being sold, the different things that are happening, the people's interest. Even if read commentaries and on your webcast, on your podcasts and Khangonyana's podcasts and others, and all the talk. The type of and constantly in the groups, I'm engaged on this, and they've said, "Oh my God, we're almost there." So it's preparation for that click happens when there is the connection between us and those who have power to make decisions.
Okay.
When we are synergized, when they don't see us as a threat, when they see us as complementing the work that they are trying to do, when they are not being sabotaged by foreign interests to maintain the status quo. Because remember, the status quo is in favor of certain groupings. You have to know that. Who are from outside. So this awakening that is happening is a problem to the devil himself. The opportunists, the bloodsuckers of the poor, they have benefited from this. So this thing that is simmering and coming up is a big divine work. It is actually scriptural. It is written in the scriptures, and we are nearing it ever so gently, ever so consistently. So in the next 5 years to come, brother, oh my brother.
Let me also give you an opportunity to ask me a quick question as we wrap up.
The question for you, the usual question. Last question.
Last and final.
How have you been doing? What is your observation about business in general?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. I know that there's some gloom and doomers, but I've also noticed that this thing, government is tight, government is this, it's causing people to take another look.
Absolutely.
I mean, when I read in the paper that medicines that were costing something like 80 million, the government was smart enough to pick it up and then declare a state of medical emergency, and then all of a sudden that real value was spent because the tender was going for 10 times that. So I'm saying, so there's a reversal, because if you look at the state of corruption that took place over around the last 3 presidents, especially the last 2, I should say the last 2 actually, before this one, everybody recognizes that things were going way wrong. So that awareness, that awakening, that redirection, I see it's happening. I experience it with my mentees, I experience it with my clients at the law firm and elsewhere. So I share the sentiments that you've just expressed, sir. That's as far as I can take it without being too political.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Let them know where they can reach you, sir. And then say bye-bye to the viewers.
Okay. All right. My number is 77487983. Our offices are at Block 8 Industrial, plot number 61050. We're ever so keen to engage, to assist, and to aid the progress of growth.
You're not as bold as I am to say you're going to make them multimillionaires if they listen to you carefully. Because I think that's the effect of what you're doing.
Indeed. Yeah.
Because that's the language the younger ones understand quicker. Yes.
And even though the word million is actually and under.
You help them unlock value.
Yes, maximum value. Yes, and bring understanding that will enable you to soar and be able to, overcome gravity, that which pulls you down. We have to infuse knowledge and walk with you in solving the problems that you encounter, guide you, because there is very little understanding where it regards engagement with authorities. It has not been done right. Compliance has been looked down on or not given its true place in our society, and it is that which has cost us an arm and a leg. So we are trying to correct all these things, and the land problems, we know that, but we are born for that. So there's a problem and a solution. So your listeners, that please come forward and let's sit down and brainstorm and give life the energy that it deserves.
I think what you want them to do is to bring their certificates and their title deeds, if they have any, or the document details,
absolutely,
so that you can assist them.
Yes.
Concretize
and talk about what the problems are. Narrate the problems.
Yes.
Don't think, and we have always said to people, don't do anything. Like if you want to sell a plot, don't sell it without engaging a professional. There are too many sometimes problems we make for ourselves.
Yeah.
We don't do things right. Then it leads to just a plethora of a drama. Because you sold land or a plot these fancy deeds of sale that are not realizable. So there's too much of that. Please consult experts so that you can, somebody seasoned experts, I call them, who know, and those who know, you will suss out who know, but for guidance, for proper guidance. So there's all these things, and also to just give a complete overview, direction that Botswana should take, what the possibilities are. We are here to show the possibilities.
It remains for me to thank you.
Thank you.
And to thank the God in you, and to appreciate your life, and to wish you a very, very long life, and wish you all the blessings, because you are doing God's work.
Thank you, brother.
I appreciate what you're doing, and thank you for visiting and coming to us.
Thank you, brother.
All
thank
the
you,
best, and God bless. I forgot to mention the book. The book is here. I think this is a new edition, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The book here, it looks thicker today, So it's available. All you do is call. Thank you very much. Thank you for taking the time out. Do not forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for viewing. Till next time. Bye-bye.